In this video, we'll be looking at how to classify various types of triangles. But before we do, let's make sure we remember what a triangle is, and let's make sure we also remember how to refer to its sides, its vertices, and its angles. All right, so what is a triangle? A triangle is a three-sided polygon. So it's going to be closed. That is because it's a polygon, and it has three sides. All right, so we can label. What I'm labeling now are called vertices. So each one is a vertex. So we have vertex A, we have vertex B, and vertex C. So the vertices are just labeled A, B, and C. Those are my vertices. We have sides of a triangle. So this is a side, this is a side, and this is another side. And many people would probably say, oh, it's made up of three lines. That's not true. It's made up of three line segments because each of these line segments have endpoints. So the sides are named A, B, B, C, and AC. Okay, there we go. And that's in this case because I could label my triangle CDE or FGH. It doesn't actually matter, but in this case, I labeled it ABC, so that's why those are my sides. And my angles, they're called angle A, or I could name it its full name, so that's kind of like a nickname, a shortening, or I could say it's angle BAC. So these are the same thing. The vertex should be written in the middle if you choose to use all three letters, or if you choose to just use one letter, that's fine too. So we have angle A or angle BAC, we have angle B or angle ABC, and we have angle C or angle BCA. So this is the same as each other. These two are the same as each other, or these two are the same as each other. So that's really how we refer to our parts of our triangle, our points, our vertices, and our angles. Let's actually look at the different types of triangles that we can have. Okay, so triangles can be classified by either their angles or their sides. So let's first look at how a triangle can be classified by its angles. The easiest way to think of it, I believe, is to think of what is the biggest angle in my triangle. And when you look at the biggest angle in your triangle, you can name it accordingly. So what do I mean by this? All right, I'm going to draw three triangles, and you will see what I mean. All right, so we have... I don't like that triangle very much. I'm going to try drawing that again. All right, let's do... There we go. All right, so that's one triangle, and my other triangle looks a little something like this, and my final triangle looks like this. All right, so what's the largest angle in my triangle? So in the first case, the largest angle looks like it's over here, and it is less than 90 degrees, which means it is an acute angle. You may remember that word, acute, meaning less than 90 degrees. So because our largest angle is less than 90 degrees, that means our triangle is also named acute. So this is an acute little triangle. It's an acute triangle. All right. So again, you judge the triangle by the biggest angle in it. So in this case, we have the biggest angle over here, which is clearly more than 90 degrees. It is actually an obtuse angle, which means that this is an obtuse triangle. And in our third triangle on this page, we have our biggest angle over here. It's a 90-degree angle, which means that it is a right angle, which means that this is a right triangle. And we come across the right triangles quite a bit. All right. The only other way that we can classify a triangle by its angles is if all angles, so I'll call this question 4, and I'll put it up here. If all our angles are the exact same measure, so if we have 60, 60, and 60, this is called an equiangular triangle. I'll write that down. We have equiangular. Now, keep in mind that an equiangular triangle is also acute. However, the name equiangular is more specific than the name acute. So if you do have a triangle with 60, 60, and 60, instead of calling it acute, we want to go to a more specific name, which is calling it an equiangular triangle. Okay, so now we're going to look at how to classify our triangles by the sides of the triangle. So I'm going to throw 3 triangles up here, and we will look at how to name them. Alright, so that's my first triangle, and my second triangle looks similar, but there is a difference. And my third triangle is a little bit of a rebel. Nothing looks the same here. Alright, okay, so the first triangle, notice that we have hash marks here, here, and here, and those little hash marks implies that all the sides are congruent to each other. They're all equal. In a triangle like that, it is actually called an equilateral triangle, with all sides equal. Alright, so something similar, but now it's not all 3 sides that are equal. It's just 2 sides that are equal. The third side may or may not be equal. In this case, our triangle is called an isosceles triangle. So just so you know, an equilateral is also an isosceles, but an isosceles triangle is not necessarily going to be an equilateral. So think about that for a moment. Now our third triangle has 3 different sides. So if one side has a certain length, the other side has a completely different length, and the third side has a different length from those 2 sides. That type of triangle is called a scalene. Alright, so now we know how to classify our triangles by the angles and by the sides. And that's it for today.